Before I tell you about the best parts of moving to Dallas, I'm going to be telling you about the hard parts, because that is a version that's actually useful. I've had clients who didn't find out about the property tax homestead exemption until after their first year. And that escrow payment jumped because nobody warned them. I've also had clients who booked a trip to London 2 months after closing because they finally had nonstop flights from their own airport. Both things are true about this city. There are 3 things that will catch you off guard in the wrong direction, and 3 things that quietly become some of the best parts of your life. And all of it is honest. I'm Zach Searsway, and in the past 2 years, I've helped over 100 families relocate to the Dallas area. If you're thinking about moving here, my contact info is in the description. The families that I help relocate here who love it the most come in knowing the best and the worst. They weren't surprised by what was hard and not really surprised by what was good. They just showed up ready for the actual Dallas area. And that is what this is. We'll start with the hard side and 3 things that are worth knowing before you sign. There's a property tax assumption most people carry into Texas that doesn't actually work here. And it'll cost you if you don't catch it. Most states protect long-term homeowners by limiting how much their assessed value can go up each year. You buy a house, your assessed value is near what you paid for it, and that number moves slow, regardless of what the market does around them. Texas has no state income tax. Instead, it funds schools, cities, and counties heavily through property taxes. The effective rate for most of the DFW is around 2% of assessed value. Okay, so here's what it looks like on 2 homes. Let's call it $400,000. It means roughly $8,000 a year in property taxes, or about $600 to $700 a month. Now add that into your mortgage with FHA, aka first-time homeowners financing, and 3.5% down. You're looking at a principal and interest payment of around $2,500, plus mortgage insurance, taxes, and homeowners insurance. Your all-in monthly payment for a $400,000 home is around $3,500 a month. Now, here's what it looks like on 2 homes. A $400,000 home means roughly $8,000 a year in property taxes, or that's about $600 to $700 a month. Now, add that into your mortgage. With FHA financing, aka a first-time homeowner's loan, 3.5% down, you're looking at a principal and interest payment of around $2,500 a month. That plus mortgage insurance, taxes, and homeowners insurance, your all-in monthly on a $400,000 home is roughly $3,500 a month. Now on an $800,000 home with 20% down means $160,000 down and a loan of $640,000. Property taxes runs around $16,000 a year, which means $1,300 a month. Add principal, interest, and insurance, and your all-in monthly payment lands around $5,700 a month for an $800,000 home. Now compare that to wherever you're moving from. Does it make sense? Well, now you know. Now, time and time again, pretty much no matter who I talk to, those numbers surprise people who assume Texas would feel cheaper across the board. On the income side, it is. On the property tax side, it's significantly higher than most states. And here's the part that catches people mid-move. Texas doesn't have a homestead cap that limits annual increases to 10% once it kicks in, but the cap resets every time a home sells. The previous homeowner's protection does not transfer to you. Your first year, the appraisal district can assess the property at full market value with no cap in place. For most home buyers, year 1 is the most expensive tax year they will have in that home. And if nobody told them that before closing, January is a rough month. Okay, so here is the immediate relief. Texas voters approved a $140,000 homestead exemption on school district taxes, and that's effective in 2026. On a $400,000 home, only $260,000 is taxable for school purposes. That's more than 50% of property taxes, by the way, for the schools. On an $800,000 home, only $660,000. That exemption alone saves most homeowners between $2,500 and $3,500 a year. But you have to apply for it. It's not automatic. File your homestead exemption as soon as you close. And I'm telling you right now, get a spot for the DMV during the contract period, whether it's 30 or 90 days, because those spots are taken so fast. The savings are real, they are significant, and most people relocating here don't find out about them until after their first tax bill arrives. I tell all my homeowners repeatedly at the closing table, before closing, even after closing, because when you're moving all that stuff, it's not the first thing you think about. So definitely file your homestead exemption. I'll tell you now, and I'll tell you again. Okay, so here's the second thing. Dallas is not a hurricane city. It's not a snowstorm city. It's a tornado watch, golf ball hail, flash flooding, sudden ice storm city. If you're moving from a place where severe weather is rare and usually predictable, this is kind of a real lifestyle adjustment. In 2024, Texas recorded over 1,000 hail events. That's more than any other state. So just keep your car in your garage. You're going to be warned from the weather app. In June of 2023, a series of hailstorms hit DFW and caused between $7 and $10 billion in insured losses. And these were individual storms that came and went in an afternoon. North Texas sits in what's called Dixie Alley. So tornado watches are a regular part of spring. You'll hear the sirens. Flash flooding is also real. Storms that drop 6 inches of rain in an afternoon are not unusual, and roads close fast. The phrase, "turn around, don't drown," is on an actual sign here, and people mean it. Now, this is not a reason to not move here. Texas has millions of people managing this reality every year, and the local infrastructure, emergency response, the community systems, and the neighbor networks are built for it. But it is a reason to be prepared. Download the weather app with storm alerts before you arrive. Know where the interior room of your house is in case there is a tornado watch and you just need a shelter and a place where there's no windows. And you gotta know the difference between a watch and a warning. People from the Midwest walk in knowing exactly what to do. People from the coast have a steeper learning curve. Neither group is wrong. You just have to know which one you are before you move here. Okay, and third, this is the one that catches most people off guard. Texas master plan communities are governed by some of the most active HOAs in the country. Now, in my experience, they're lenient than some of the Midwest places, but they do exist in a lot of these neighborhoods. A lot of places like the West Coast, HOAs are a formality. Dues come out, nobody shows up, and if there's a rule about fence height, it's probably not enforced in years. That's not what you're walking into in North Texas. In places like Frisco, Prosper, Celina, and McKinney, the popular North Dallas suburbs where they have the big master plan communities that most families are relocating to, the HOA is operational. I painted my front door green, and for months, nothing. And then all of a sudden, got a letter in the mail saying, "Hey, you got to submit this for approval." I did it. Within 1 week, they submitted back and said, "Hey, it looks fine." So lenient, but operational. But that goes to show that the Architectural Review Committee is a real thing. They review paint colors before you repaint. There's rules about grass height, what you can park in your driveway, and what kind of fence and what kind of mailboxes you can have. Violations come with fines, and repeat violations can actually escalate. Okay, but here's what's real versus what you may have heard. They usually won't come down on you unless you paint your front door purple, have a shed in the backyard with a metal roof that's coming off, and some kind of crazy garage door or brick color. So they are here, but like I said, they're actually lenient compared to some of the other states that you may have moved from. Okay, for families who choose these communities specifically because the neighborhoods look clean and consistent, this is exactly why. The rules do create the aesthetic. You are buying into the outcome of that enforcement. But if you value doing whatever you want with your own property, this will frustrate you in ways you may not fully anticipate until you're living in it. Know which kind of household you are before you commit to a master plan community. And I'll tell you right now, to save you some time, if you're buying into a new home community, or most communities with amenities, you will have an HOA here in Texas That's just how it is. But here is the bright side. Most neighborhoods here are so clean, especially ones that have been around for 20 years that are in HOAs. They look like they were built just 2 or 3 years ago. Because of the HOAs keeping up with the aesthetic of the community, at least your values will actually hold. Okay, so enough about the homeowners association. This next one genuinely changes how people live, and it's one of the things that nobody thinks about before they move here. DFW Airport. It's the second largest airline hub in the entire world. As of 2025, it has nonstop service to 270 destinations. Maybe just like a couple numbers shy of that, but sounds pretty accurate. 196 domestic and 73 international from 29 airlines. I actually used to work for an airline, so there are the numbers. American Airlines operates its main hub here. And in case you didn't know, it's the largest airline in the world. And DFW is where it lives. That means nonstop flights to London, Tokyo, Cancun, Amsterdam, Dubai, and 196 cities across the country. Now, DFW may not be the first place that people think of when they think about going on vacation, but flying out of DFW, you can pretty much get to most major destinations within the country within a couple hours. So for the families moving from smaller markets, this is a lifestyle upgrade that you didn't have to budget for. They used to connect through Chicago or Atlanta just to get to Florida. Now you're living in the hub. Everywhere connects through them. I had a client who moved here from a mid-sized city on the West Coast, and 2 months after closing, she booked her first trip to Europe on a direct flight that was 4 hours shorter than anything she had ever taken from her previous home airport. No connecting flights and no layovers. That's actually a serious lifestyle upgrade if you do travel a lot. She said it was the first thing that she recommended to every family she knew who was considering the move. If you haven't spent years paying connection premiums just to go anywhere meaningful, the DFW airport changes the math on your life and saves you so much money when you're traveling. Okay, so now that you know about the major travel advantages, let's talk about the weather. Everyone focuses on summer heat in Dallas, but nobody talks about the flip side. DFW's average January's high is 55 degrees. Your kids are outside in January, and you're having dinner on the patio in February, hiking in December, and going outdoor to birthday parties in March. Now I know what you're thinking, and the crazy freeze doesn't run all through February. Only about a week long is it really, really cold. So the true outdoor season here runs October through May, which is 9 months. The compressed window is mid-June through mid-September. About 12 weeks of genuine heat, where outdoor life shifts from early morning and evening. That must be why we're such a major golf destination. Everywhere you look, there's a golf course on just about every block. It's really nice, actually. Families moving from the upper Midwest or the Pacific Northwest process is differently than most. For them, they're trading months of gray skies and sub-freezing temperatures for a November hiking season and an outdoor happy hour in March. Most of them tell me that around 6 months of living here that they didn't expect how much the 9 months would completely outweigh the 12 weeks. March in Dallas actually feels like May for the rest of the country, and that's the part that usually doesn't make it in the headlines when you're talking about weather in Dallas. Okay, so this next one, the third point, is worth knowing right now because it's actually time specific. DFW's housing inventory just hit its highest level since 2003. There's 5.5 months of inventory supply across North Texas. That's a 20% jump year over year. More than 35% of Dallas homes have had price reduction in recent months, and homes are sitting on an average of about 2 months on market. And that's about 18% longer than last year. This is one of the most buyer-friendly windows the market has offered in almost 10 years. Okay, so here's what the inventory looks like at $600,000. For those of you that are shopping in the North Dallas suburbs, where I live and most people relocate to, Frisco, McKinney, Prosper, Celina, that can mean 3,000 to 4,000 square feet, 4 bedrooms, a 3-car garage, and a backyard that your kids can actually use, a pool that's actually an option, not just a fantasy. For families coming from higher cost metros, this is not just cheaper, it's materially and fundamentally different. The physical size of what $600,000 to $800,000 buys in North Texas versus what it buys in those markets is not a slight upgrade. It's a different category of life and options for what's actually possible. A family I worked with relocated here from a higher cost of living city out in the West. They had 16 square feet of house, 4 people living in it, no garage, and pretty much no yard at all. They moved to McKinney, $580,000, pre-owned, 3,400 square feet, 3-car garage, with the pool. Their kids never really had a real yard before. They stopped mid-tour just to look at each other, not because they could not believe the price, but because they could not believe what they had been living without for many years. But I have to say this, the combination of that space and this buyer's window does not last forever. Inventory will tighten again because everything's a cycle. And when rates start to ease, it will be a lot harder to find homes under $700,000 in these key areas. So right now, the leverage is on the buyer side. And it really is truly more of a buyer's market here in DFW. Okay, so here's the honest version of Dallas. It'll give you real estate most families cannot access in higher cost markets. A job base that has been outpacing most of the country. Winters that feel like spring to a lot of the people that move here. And an airport that opens up the entire world in a way that most American cities can't. And it'll also take you understanding that you will probably be in an HOA if you're buying into a new home community. The families who love Dallas most didn't ignore those trade-offs. They walked in having evaluated them honestly. If you want to talk through whether those trade-offs work for your life and which neighborhoods give you the most right now in this market, that's exactly what I do. Link is in the description. Let's talk.